Hi, everyone. My name's Pamela, and I'm a real estate agent here in Boston. Today, I'm going to share the story of how my mother-in-law, Patricia, went from controlling to downright dangerous. Buckle up, this one's a ride. I met Mike 3 years ago at a luxury home showing. He was charming, successful, and we hit it off right away. A year later, we were married. That's when Patricia entered my life. The first time I met her, she looked me up and down in her perfectly tailored Channel suit, her expression more appraising than welcoming. "Darling," she said with a condescending tilt of her head, "real estate. Isn't that a bit ambitious for someone from your background?" The comment came during our engagement dinner, and I can still hear the disdain in her voice. At first, Mike's sister Emma seemed like an ally. Over coffee, she'd roll her eyes and tell me, "Don't take it personally. Mom's like this with everyone." But everything changed when I got pregnant. "Mother thinks you should consider a different doctor," Emma mentioned one day during lunch. "She knows a wonderful OBGYN who delivered all of us." "Unhappy with Dr. Roberts," I replied. That didn't stop Patricia. She began showing up at my appointments uninvited, announcing to the receptionist, "As the grandmother, I have a right to be involved." The receptionist would glance at me apologetically, but Patricia was relentless. Then came Tom's wedding. Tom, Mike's younger brother, was marrying Sophia. The date? 2 weeks before my due date. "You absolutely must attend." Patricia insisted over Sunday dinner. "It would be terribly embarrassing for Mike if you weren't there. I've already arranged your outfit." My doctor advised against traveling this late in the pregnancy. I protested. "Nonsense," she scoffed. "I carried all 3 of my children to term and never once let it slow me down. Besides, I'll be there to help if anything happens." And then she dropped the bombshell. "Of course, I'll also be in the delivery room. As the family matriarch, it's my place to welcome my grandchild." "That's not happening," I said firmly. Patricia's smug smile sent a chill down my spine. "We'll see about that," she said. "Mike agrees with me, don't you, dear?" Mike stirred his coffee, avoiding my gaze. "Mom has experience with these things. Honey, maybe we should consider it." Emma nodded along, completely transformed from the supportive friend she once was. "Mother knows best, Pamela. You're new to all this." Looking back, I should have seen the warning signs, the constant undermining, the sly comments about my quaint upbringing, the reminders that Patricia came from old money while I was just a middle-class girl. But nothing could have prepared me for what happened at Tom's wedding. The morning of the wedding was a disaster. Patricia showed up at my house at 7 a.m., criticizing everything. "That lipstick is far too bold for a daytime wedding. Use this instead," she said, handing me an expensive nude shade. "And you're not wearing those shoes, are you? They're so department store." Mike rolled his eyes but stayed silent. By the time we arrived at the country club, I was already exhausted. "Pamela, you look ready to pop." Maria, Sophia's best friend, hugged me. She knew about my high-risk pregnancy. "Are you sure you should be here?" Not like I had a choice, I muttered, gesturing toward Patricia, who was busy bossing around photographers. During the ceremony, the first contraction hit. I gripped the pew, trying to breathe through it. Maria noticed. "Maybe we should get you out of here." "No, I'm fine," I whispered. "Just Braxton Hicks." At the reception, the contractions grew stronger. Patricia noticed me grimacing and swept over, her tone deceptively sweet. "Darling, you look dreadful. Let's get you somewhere quiet. We can't have you making a scene." "I should probably go home," I began, but she was already steering me toward the stairs. "There's a lovely guest room upstairs. You can rest, and I'll check on you later." The room was gorgeous, with antique furniture and heavy curtains. Patricia helped me to the bed, then casually slipped my phone from my purse. "I'll hold on to this so you won't be disturbed," she said with a smile. "Wait," I started, but she was already gone. The door clicked. Locked. "Patricia," I called, struggling to sit up. Her voice came through the door, calm and composed. "It's for your own good, dear. We can't have you wandering around and drawing attention away from the bride. Just rest quietly, and I'll come get you." This wasn't funny anymore. The contractions were coming stronger now, and panic was rising fast. I rattled the locked door again, desperation creeping into my voice. "Patricia, this isn't Braxton Hicks. I'm in labor." "Oh, don't be dramatic." Her voice came dismissively from the other side. "I had Braxton Hicks with all 3 of my children. Just rest. You'll be fine." My heart pounded as I scanned the room, spotting a phone on the bedside table. I grabbed it, but my hopes were dashed. It was dead. "Please," I begged, my voice trembling, "just let me call Mike." There was no response. The contractions were getting closer, and I moved to the window, but we were on the third floor. Below, the laughter and music of the reception mocked my growing terror. Downstairs, Maria was starting to worry. She asked around, "Has anyone seen Pamela?" "She's just resting upstairs." Patricia said smoothly, sipping her champagne. First-time mothers can be so dramatic. She asked not to be disturbed. But Maria wasn't buying it. She turned to Mike. "I've looked everywhere. I can't find her." "She's probably in the bathroom," Mike replied, barely glancing up. Upstairs, I was on the floor, trying to breathe through another contraction when I heard Maria's voice in the hallway. Summoning all my strength, I cried out, my voice trembling, "I'm locked in. Please help me." "Oh my God, Pamela." Maria's footsteps hurried closer. "Where are you?" "In here." "The door's locked." I managed before another contraction hit, making me cry out in pain. "Hold on." James, get up here now." Moments later, James's voice joined hers. "What's going on?" "She's locked in. She's in labor." "Stand back from the door," James ordered. I scooted away just as he rammed his shoulder against the old wooden door. It held for 2 tries, but on the third, it splintered open. Maria rushed to my side. "How far apart are the contractions?" "Maybe 4 minutes," I gasped. "I don't know anymore." Patricia took my phone. I couldn't time them. James was already dialing for an ambulance when Patricia appeared in the doorway, her face twisted with outrage. "What on earth are you doing?" "That door is an antique." "What am I doing?" I screamed through another contraction. "You locked me in here." Patricia's voice was ice cold. "Don't be ridiculous. I was helping you rest. You're clearly hysterical." Mike appeared behind her, looking confused. "What's going on?" "Your mother locked your wife in here while she's in active labor," Maria snapped. She took her phone and disconnected the room phone. Mike hesitated, his brow furrowing. "I'm sure there's been a misunderstanding. Mom was just trying to help." "Help?" James spun around, his voice sharp. "This is false imprisonment of a woman in labor. Do you understand how serious this is?" Patricia's face turned red. "Now see here. I was simply trying to prevent her from making a scene. She's always been so attention-seeking, trying to overshadow family events with her common behavior." Another contraction hit, and I cried out, clutching Maria's hand. "She's faking it," Patricia declared, her tone dripping with contempt. "She's just jealous of Tom and Sophia's special day." Maria exploded. "Her water just broke, Patricia. You're insane." Moments later, paramedics pushed through the growing crowd of wedding guests. As they loaded me onto the stretcher, Patricia was still protesting. "This is absolutely ridiculous. She's ruining everything, just like I knew she would." The next few hours were a blur of pain and chaos. But at 9:47 p.m., my daughter, Luna, arrived, perfect and healthy. When I woke in the hospital later, Maria was dozing in a chair beside me and Luna was peacefully asleep in her bassinet. "Where's Mike?" I asked groggily. Maria's expression darkened. "He's in the waiting room, with Patricia." Of course he was. The door opened and Mike walked in, Patricia right behind him, both still in their wedding clothes. "Honey," Mike began, "there's been a huge misunderstanding. Mom was just trying to help. You know how overwhelming these society events can be for someone not used to them." "Not used to them?" I stared at him, disbelief twisting in my chest. "I could have lost our baby because of her." "That's hysterical thinking," Patricia cut in, her voice cold and dismissive. "I raised 3 children. I know what real labor looks like. You were fine." Maria stood up, blocking Patricia's path to my bed. "I think you both need to leave. Now." "This is a family matter," Patricia began, but Maria cut her off. "Family doesn't lock family in rooms and endanger their lives. Get out before I call security." As they left, I looked down at my sleeping daughter and made a decision. This would be the last time Patricia, or Mike, would ever have the chance to hurt us. Maria's guest room became our sanctuary during those first chaotic weeks. Between night feedings and divorce paperwork, I barely had time to process everything. James was a godsend, handling the legal details while I focused on Luna. We're filing for both divorce and a restraining order. James explained one morning over coffee. What happened at the wedding wasn't just cruel, it was criminal. Then came the bombshell. One day, Emma appeared at Maria's door, her hands trembling as she handed James a USB drive. "I can't keep quiet anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "Mom's been horrible for years, but this is too far." It's security footage from the wedding. On a screen, Patricia was seen locking the door, then turning to a friend with a smug smile. Now she can't make a scene. Emma's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so sorry, Pamela. I should have stopped her sooner." The story spread like wildfire. Wedding guests had already been sharing photos and videos of the aftermath. Me being wheeled out on a stretcher, Patricia ranting about attention-seeking behavior. But when the security footage leaked, it was over for her. "Did you see?" Patricia Morrison locked her pregnant daughter-in-law in a room during active labor. The headlines were everywhere. One by one, her society friends abandoned her. Maria told me later that Patricia was removed from her cherished charity board. "We cannot have someone who would endanger a mother and child representing our organization," they announced publicly. Mike didn't fare much better. His real estate clients fled his business in droves. A former colleague of mine told me he even showed up drunk to a house showing. The horrified clients left immediately. "They all know about what happened at the wedding," my colleague said. Meanwhile, I focused on healing and rebuilding. Surprisingly, new clients began seeking me out. "We want someone with integrity," they'd say. "Someone who stood up to that awful woman." 3 years flew by, and I opened my own firm, Morrison Real Estate, reclaiming the name on my terms. Maria became Luna's godmother, and James continued to handle all our legal work. My boutique agency specializes in helping people find not just houses, but real homes, places where they'll feel safe and happy. Today was Luna's 3rd birthday party. My backyard was alive with laughter, children running and playing, supportive friends mingling, and even a few of Patricia's former social circle who had chosen me over her. Mike showed up briefly, awkwardly handing Luna a wrapped present. "Happy birthday," he mumbled, before leaving as quickly as he came. The disapproving looks from my friends probably made it clear he wasn't welcome. "More juice, please," Luna called out, her curls bouncing as she ran by with her friends. Tom and Sophia approached, carrying a beautifully wrapped gift. "We're moving to London," Tom announced as he hugged me tight. Sophia beamed, her hands resting on her growing belly. "We just want to raise our baby without any of that negative energy." "We'll always stay in touch," Tom promised. "Your family, the good kind." Maria nudged me as they left. "Don't look now, but guess who's parked across the street?" I glanced out the window and caught sight of Patricia's Bentley. She was sitting there alone, watching the party she wasn't invited to. A few years ago, the sight of her would have made my blood boil. Now, all I felt was pity. "Should we call someone?" Maria asked, raising an eyebrow. "No need," I said, turning back to the party. "She's punishing herself more than we ever could." I knelt beside Luna as she leaned over her cake. "Make a wish, baby," I whispered. As the candles flickered out, I realized I didn't need to make wishes anymore. Everything I needed was already here. What would you do if you were Tom and Sophia? Would you stay close to toxic family members during your pregnancy, hoping they'd change or move away to protect your unborn child like they did? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you've ever dealt with controlling in-laws or toxic family dynamics, I'd love to hear your story. Remember, sometimes walking away isn't weakness, it's wisdom. If this story resonated with you, please like and subscribe for more real-life stories about overcoming toxic relationships and finding strength in unexpected places. Your support helps me share stories that matter.